Okay. We'll come back to memories. We'll do our transitions. So you're in Live Assist, right?
No, we're navigation.
Oh, you are. Because if I were to do this,
Oh, sweet.
there you go. Notice there's this panel link button. So with it engaged, that means as I make changes, this panel will follow along, which can get annoying if you're doing one specific thing. So you can uncheck that. So if we did that now, I can, always does that. It's like, why are you changing with the panel link off? And it's annoying. Oh, I think it might be this. So if I were to go panel link off and I have selected a Kia, it's not taking me away. Or is it? It's not. If I go to white, but if the panel link is on, yeah, as I make the key change, it's chasing that. So you'll see it's doing it over on the right-hand side. Sorry, right-hand side. Left-hand side. So that's following, whereas this one's not. Yeah. Either way, that's what that's for. We're going to dissolve first. Pretty standard. Can you put something in preview, a camera in preview and a different one in program? And if I dissolve, cool, hit auto, it's going to go to the predetermined rate of 30. You have in your dashboard there a bunch of shortcuts. So you've got some quick selects for the speed. You'll see that there's some buttons on the left hand side there. One is the roll clip on, preview off, and your limit. So we'll talk about, you'll find that those buttons are going to be the same for doesn't matter what transition type, those buttons are there. Other than flip-flop for dissolve, because a dissolve backwards is kind of the same as it going forward. So, right. The first one is roll clip. That is whether or not the roll clip button is on or off, and you see it's turning on and off as I punch it. The next one is preview. So if I hold down dissolve until it goes blue in the face, you'll see that the preview shows it's on. You'll see that preview and program look exactly the same. And if I were to move my handle or hit auto, I'm going to see a preview of the transition before it goes on there. Okay? If you were to turn it on from the dashboard, it's blue. But now it stays blue and my hand's out there. I could see this happen. Somebody saying, hey, it's not going, it's stuck. Well, it's because it's blue. Double tap or just tap it one time will get it out of that preview mode. All right, so dissolve, easy enough. But there's a button, hit the flash. There you go. You'll see now the dissolve is flashing. You see we've got white. So if I hit the auto, I now have a dip to color. We call it flash, which is annoying because default it's a dip to color. I'm using my whatever the length of my transition is, and I'm using a portion of it to get to the color, and then the portion of it to get out of the color. And so you'll see that in the dashboard. You've got an onset and an offset. Onset being going to the color, offset. So for flash, to me, I would use none of the time. So I'd spin this down to 0. So it's going to be, if I hit auto, cut to white, then dissolve out. That's a flash in my mind. But you'll notice now that there is a number in the middle of those two sliders that says hold. So we're using 50% of that transition to hold on the color. So that's why we get that where, like a traditional flash. But if I were to spin this slider all the way up to 100%, you'll see the hold percentage go down because I'm using my whole transition time to get out the color. There you go. And yeah, you can pick any color you like on the fly. Cool. So if I go to a white or I go to a DVE, that's all good. I go back to my dissolve, it's still flashing. So I'm like, oh, how do I turn it off? You either hit the dissolve big button or double tap. will get you back to a traditional dissolve. Cool. All right, that's your dissolve transition. Easy. Next one, wipe. So you'll see there the same options on the very left edge. Preview, flip. No, now you got a flip flop, so the direction of which this goes. But you've got a pattern, and if you slowly move the fader handle, you'll start to see what's going on. You can now just choose the different pattern you like. Keep an eye on the sliders that you have available to you. Some of these will gray out, like rotation and Y position. If you, let's see, softness, rotation. So that's not letting me rotate, right? I can't slide this rotation. And that's because that pattern, diagonal, is fixed. But I could get something like that, and now I should be able to rotate it. So you can, as you see, as I make this change on the knob here, the slider is going up and down, right? Border, you can reef up a border. Softness. Now we can make interesting wipes. This is the word interesting. I just say to make the wipe look better, you just move the handle faster. Some of these are, the uglier it is, just faster, fast transition. Weird things are like H multiply, V multiply. So you come up with some interesting stuff. All right. James Bond. Well, let's fix that. So if I wanted to go to the H multiply, V multiply, right? I've got 11 and 4 at the moment. Double tap, resets it back. Yeah, I could slide this up and down. I could tap any one of these numbers here and it will give me that 10 key. I've got a default or enter in a value, right? So kind of quick and easy ways of getting around it. Circular wipe now with this border that's a little too big and too soft. You just do that, right? But now you're James Bonding, especially when you grab the knob, the joystick. No, it's not the joystick, is it? It's called the positioner, because the joystick it's much better. It's much better than this. This will take a little bit to get used to. All right, cool with that? Direction. So if you were to go, so if you notice we're going, so it's small to big, right? If you were to do a flip-flop or turn the flip-flop on, we're going to go small to big and then big, small. So it's flip-flopping the direction. And as I do it, you see that the direction forward or reverse lights up. So it tells you which. Now, I have no way of knowing which way that is. You just do it. Yeah. You pick a shape and you did reverse. I couldn't tell you if we're going from one side or the other. Hence.
That would be something you'd use the preview for, right?
Ding, ding, ding. There you go. Hold it down, blue in the face. Which way is that going? Yeah. Awesome. Easy enough?
Yeah.
Cool. Regular old white. All right, next trick. DVE, digital video effect. This does use one of your digital video effect resources, which I should have, I don't know if you've ever seen that. Your other one probably has 8 channels, so you could do 8 boxes, or a DVE transition uses one of those. You've only got 4 in UHD. So the most you can do is 4 boxes. A 4-box. I don't know if you're doing remote stuff, I don't know. But if you don't do a lot of boxes, you're good. Okay, so there you've got a palette you can just tap on any one of those. You'll get a kind of quick little animation of what it will do. There's only a couple there that I kind of are okay with, the fly through and the stretch is usually a graphic transition is the way to go. All right. To see how many channels or DV channels you've got used at the time, if you go menu navigation status, this section right here is what tells you the story of what resources are in use. So you've got 3 in use at the moment. You've got your program DVE transition. You have your program Kia 1 has a DVE, and ME1 Kia 1 has a DVE as well. Far right just tells you the dashboard connections that you have, so the devices running dashboard that are connected to the switcher. You've got a limit there, but green is good, yellow is not good. I don't think you'll ever see a red because there'll be smoke coming out of that thing. But there are some shortcuts, like little references, like the port numbers of how you connect to the switcher. So when you open up a new dashboard and you want to connect to the switcher, you're communicating at the IP address of the switcher frame and the port number 5253. The soft panel is 5257. Soft panel being we can actually switch the switcher from the dashboard. Yep. That's about it on that page. All right. The cool one. Media Store. Go Live Assist. So, Media Store. Media Wipe. So this is using the Media Store and animation to play over a transition. So we messed around and built 2. Well, Michael built 2. You'll see that they show up here. So you'll see that there's one. So go ahead. Right now, we're using Media Store 2 as the channel that we're going to play over top of our transition. How do I know that? Because it's got a blue line highlight there. Also, if I hold down the Media Wipe button, you'll see in preview, M2 lights up. So if you were to hit M1, you're now telling the system, hey, use Media Store Channel 1. We're going to use Media Store 2 because that's just what we did. So an existing, they've got 2 clips in there. Go ahead and drag the first one there and drop it into that channel. Or double tap it. That one there. And you'll see it's loaded in. You might see this flash, which you don't. If it's flashing, it means it's loading that each frame of that animation in. So now, what does it look like? So you hit auto, it's going to play at full speed. And again, whatever you have selected in your next transition is going to happen underneath that. Now, you grab the next one, double tap on that. We now have our flashing Media Wipe button, and you'll also get tells you what it's doing. So we've got 1 frame of 60, 2 frames of 60. See how long it takes for each of those frames to load in? It's because it's UHD, not regular HD. So the limiting factor that you have for each channel, you got Media 1 and Media 2. The number of frames that you can store into RAM. So what's happening is we're loading this into RAM. So even though the file is super small, it's getting decompressed, uncompressed to a full frame of video, UHD video. So you're limited on the number of frames you have. And we found documentation that you can have 123 frames in Media 1 and 123 in Media 2. It was 490 something in HD. So 4 times that. We had the discussion yesterday whether or not we were going to try and pressure you into, oh, you want to run an HD, because then you got 3 MEs, 6 Kias, 4 mini MEs, Ultra Scenes, 8 DVEs. You got, no, you want the UHD stuff. So. All right, so you'll see that that's taking a while. Once it's in RAM, we can flip from one animation to the other instantly. So we'll have 2 wipes. And I'm actually going to get you to we'll do a custom control that does a transition with either one. All right, so the story about this graphic is this is the logo that just goes from the left to right. So the graphic never covers the whole screen at once. So you'll see if you go to Edit Trans Settings, I think we can do this while it's loading in. You'll see that on the right hand side here, Media Over. So traditionally it's a cut. That's currently well, I don't know, I guess it's still going in, but you can do it over a dissolve or a wipe or a DVE. Why the other choices? Sometimes you get something like an animation from the graphics department that is, they give you 1 frame as the cut point, which you kind of have to roll your eyes at, or it doesn't quite cover the screen, and so to make the cut point less jarring, a quick dissolve sort of helps. So that's where I've used the dissolve. But for this graphic that goes across the screen, the graphic is hiding the wipe. So problem is we already built this yesterday, so the system already knows what the cut point is and what the wipe pattern is. So all these settings have been sort of done for you. But we'll break it so that you can use it again. And we're at 40 of 60, so like try and do a song and dance here while that's loading in. There's a thumbnail frame. You'll see there's a button in this interface. So we're in the edit mode. You've got a cut at fader position. If we went into transition time, which may not let us because we're still loading in something, you get to determine when does it start the wipe and when does it stop the wipe, because your animation may not be on the screen yet. So you have to delay the wipe to match the graphic, which we'll go into. We'll break it so that you get to fix it. Are we 49 of 60? All right, I've got questions for you then. So is this something that you think you'll use, the transition, media transition? I mean, we did the...
Probably with the beat and things like that, we might use a transition. Okay. I can imagine. That's just our news.
Yep.
The student news, yeah.
Yeah. Jazz up your programs a bit. Okay. Where are we at? 56 of 60. And 2 more. All right, we're in. So now if you were to I'd like you to preview that transition.
Sure, so hold on.
Grab your fader handle. Do that again. So
I have to hold down press DV and then...
Nope. I'm going to let you figure it out. So you're holding down dissolve, so you're previewing a dissolve.
Sure.
If you want to hold down the media wipe, now aha, it's broken. So now you get to fix it. So if you notice, as you move the fader handle through, the wipe is going in the wrong direction than the graphic is moving. So we get to, I'm like somewhat excited about this, we get to edit we're in the edit mode. So the wipe, you've got it's a horizontal wipe, that's fine. What if you change the direction? So where it says forward, direction forward, tab, a button on the left. Now grab the handle, and you don't have to preview it now. So we're now playing the animation backwards. which fixes it, but I'm going to be a princess. I don't want it going right to left, I want it going left to right.
So try flip flop. No?
Well, I don't know, try it, go all the way through and go.
Oh.
So it's flip-flopping, the wipe is still going in the same direction, right?
Yeah.
Which seems kind of weird, but. So the flip-flop not working, but the flip-flop is making the animation go backwards and forwards, right? So we're going, yeah, so I'm wanting it to go left to right, so I'm being a princess about it. So you can't do the reverse, so direction will be forward. Let's look at the rotation. Is that rotatable? It is. There you go. So now spin it off. There you go. Well done. Hit save. Top right corner. And then exit the blue button on the all the way to the bottom right, bottom left there. You see it says exit media trans. There you go. All right. So if you now double tap on the orange transition there, and now, so you can see how we jump from one animation to the other super quick because the animation is loaded into the RAM of the switcher. And because each animation is 60 frames long. All right, I'm going to be a princess again. Hit auto. Yeah, it's too slow. I want that to go faster. So you're going to go. Does transition time give? Yeah. Yeah, it totally doesn't help us. So go to the media button at the bottom there. Because this is an animation that I'd like to speed up. So we're in the media manager here now. Tap that one time. And what happens in the bottom left loads in that clip, that metadata. And so you're going to see all the information about that clip. The clip name, how big it is, whether it's got alpha, audio, its XY position, which I wouldn't mess with. But you also have, there's a cut frame. Notice it says 31. You scroll down. You have play speed. Tap that. Hit 2.0. Now what I try to do is I'll get you to drag and drop that back in. So you have to find it in the USB there. So you'll see that there is a folder called animations. Tap on that. And this is just my way of doing it, but I'm not going to say my way is the best way, but it's a very good way. This animations folder is going to have all of my animated sequences in it. You might, when you look at it on the USB, it's a mess because it has every single frame in the animation for all of your animations. You might like, I want to put this animation in a subfolder and this one in another subfolder. Well, that hurts me because I now have to go for, if I want to go from one animation to another through the media manager, I have to click on that folder and all I see is one thumbnail in there, because what the system is doing is it takes the very first frame that it sees and it detects that it's got a range and just considers them one. So that's why I only get one thumbnail, even though there is 120 images in that folder. So it can hurt when you're doing file transfer. You can just see a mess, but it looks prettier here. All right, so go ahead and drag that into the, yeah, or double tap it. Actually, I'll try doing it this way. That will, dragging. See, because when you do that, notice it's at 1 speed. So we tap that one time, do that at 2, right? Then I drag it in. It sticks now. It's kind of a funky thing. It's always done it this way. I'll make a change and it doesn't stick. So now if you hit auto, it's a little faster. Now you can change it, slow it down, so make it half speed. Go ahead if you close it out, and now if you hit auto, it's like still too fast, right? So you drag the thumbnail back into the channel. It's like saving it. Did that go to 0.5? There you go. Now the problem is you start to slow your animations down, it's going to be a little bit stop animation mode, which might be totally what you're after. Especially when you're limited on the number of frames you have. I wouldn't want to speed up my animations because now I'm throwing out half my frames that I could be using for some other animation. The one use case there was the graphite would have about 110 frames. We had one and 110 frames at 60 frames a second. You're a second and a half is your transition. It's not usable. What this one ad agency had, their video was very stop and it was glitchy. It was meant to be glitchy. So slowing that way down, it worked just fine. So we're able to, if you like your arty glitchy transitions, then maybe that works, right? But you're not that 120 frames is. If you loop that, you're gonna notice that, all right? So because you are 60 frames a second, so all right, cool. I'm going to get you to mess that transition up and then fix it. So let's go. I'm going to mess it up. How about that? Trans time. Cut at fader position. I'm going to do this. Here we go. So now it's broken. So do your fader handle. So you see how you can see the transition now, right? So when you first bring in your animated sequence, the system is not going to know what cut frame to use. So 2 ways of doing it. One way is through editing the media transition like you have there, or physically, just step through the animation using the fader handle and get your graphic to cover the whole screen. And if you go, that's the frame that you want to use, hold down media wipe and tap cut. Now push the handle all the way through. Now as you go through, you'll see that and you'll see it changed in the interface, right? Jump to around 30 or 31. Yep. All right. That animation was built in Expression. We exported out as an image sequence, put it on the USB. So yes, you can do these animations in Expression, but then you're tying up their channel to do that wipe, which might be all right. Problem is, you can only load 2 of them into the switcher memory. You could have hundreds in their Expression and call it up. So you got to make a compromise somewhere. Now when you get your new cameras and you get another channel, though, you could have one for wipes and one for graphics, lower third. So, yeah. All right. There's no more transitions to talk about. That's it.